Uniforms folded, flag hangs on the wall. Traded steel and thunder for silence in the hall. The mission's over, the deployment's done, they said. But the war inside my head, it hasn't left its stain. Got the handshake, the thank you, the ticket back home. Now I'm standing on the sidewalk, feeling utterly alone. This freedom is a cage that I can't seem to break. Every single morning it's a future I might forsake. Lost the rhythm, lost the drive, the structure disappeared. The invisible wounds are the ones that I truly feared. I'm walking on a wire, the pressure's coming down. Is there anyone listening in this lonely town? Full speed ahead after battle.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Full Speed Ahead After Battle here on the Military Broadcast Radio, where we give veterans a voice. It's March, y'all, already through February into the third month of 2026. Time is flying by, and so what does March mean for everybody? Let's see. March 2nd, for any of y'all outside of the greatest country of all, Texas. Today is Texas Independence Day. For those that y'all don't know your history, I don't know what kind of history they teach you in the other states, but here Texas history comes before American history. That's just the way we were raised because we are Texas proud. But at one point, Texas flew under 7 different countries, right? Ask any Texan, and a real Texan will be able to tell you all those 7 flags. But in the end, we ended up joining the United States of America because that made the most sense, right? And we have been Texas all along. And I tell you what, as a veteran that's been overseas, deployed on a ship and spent some time in ports, there's 2 veterans that foreigners love to get to know. That's the veteran, and then that's the veteran from Texas, because they think all veterans from Texas wear cowboy hats, wear cowboy boots, and ride horses to work and school. And while some of us do that, not all of us, but that's what they all think. So, yes, Texas Independence Day. So for all my fellow Texans out there, happy Independence Day. March, is everybody, I'm sure, well aware, coming up on the 17th, St. Patrick's Day or St. Patty's Day. But actually, the full month of March is Irish American Month. And I know everybody claims to be from Ireland at some point. And while many families may be, my family definitely is. My aunt and uncle, they traveled to Ireland, Scotland, all around Europe, tracing our bloodline and our clan name all the way back to the mercenary clan back to the 2 original kings of Scotland. All in all, we used to be known as the Hooded Ones because that's what we showed up wearing in battle, was a dark hood. Most of the time when they saw our family up on the hill, they turned around and ran off the battlefield. And no, that is not just folklore. That is in the history books. So go check it out. Irish American Month, Texas history, a lot of history going on. History being made every day. While we don't talk politics on this show, I'm sure everybody is fully aware of what's going on in the Middle East right now. So our thoughts and prayers with all of our veterans that are deployed currently to the Middle East. I know we've had some that were KIA and some of those bombings over there. So while I've been there, I know how it feels. So for all the families that are going through it now, all of our veterans that are going through it now, this will come to an end at one point as well. So my thoughts and prayers are with you again. What's been going on the last couple of weeks? Well, as if you've been tuning in or if you haven't, I've been at my new job for about 2 weeks now. For those that don't know, I work at the Wise County Animal Shelter now. Took a position there. I'm taking a step back from the corporate world, working on my mental health, my personal well-being. And I tell you what, coworkers like dogs, cats, goats, pigs, calves, horses, everything I've seen come in the last couple of weeks is definitely a nice change of pace because it is scientifically proven hanging out with animals is good for your stress. It's good for your heart, your mind, your body, your soul, and every other aspect of that. And I will tell you that I've seen it. My wife has seen it. Others have seen it in the last couple of weeks. It seems like a whole new person because of what I get to do every day. And not only that, I started out as a kennel tech. That's what I was hired on to do. And basically, it's cleaning out kennels and walking dogs and taking care of whatever livestock comes to hand. But because of my history, because of what I've done, my knowledge, I was moved into the volunteer manager position there at the animal shelter, creating a volunteer program from the ground up for our citizens, residents here in Wise County. But guess what that means? That means that I now get to work with veterans putting together volunteer programs that combines my two loves, my two passions. That's helping veterans and animals. So more to come on that. What else is going on? Not much as far as that. I mean, work has been crazy, getting all that together. A lot going on in the world today. For those, I haven't given an update on my father in a couple of weeks. He's been going through a lot of that. If you've been keeping up, if you're not, my father, who is a veteran as well, recently, a few months ago, diagnosed with stage 2 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He's been going through chemo and everything else. He's doing better. Tests are showing that it's disappearing. Some of the blood work still has traces, but things are working. Things are getting better. So much so that they're not scheduling his follow-up chemo for another few months. So that means that the cancer is going away. He's getting better, sounding better. And for anybody that's ever had to deal with cancer or family members that deal with cancer, you know how big of a deal that is. So for everybody that's checking in on him, I appreciate it. He appreciates it. Thank you. So our guest tonight, first time on this show, we've had a returning guest. Apparently she didn't get enough of my attitude and my back talk the last time around. She said, hey, let's do this again. She's got more information coming up that she wants to get out in the world, but we'll let her do a little recap. But Rita is a county VSO, veteran service officer, and we were just talking about that. For veterans out there, if you're looking to get into, your VA benefits, your disability, any of those kind of benefits, reach out to your local county VSO. I know the one I work with has helped me out tremendously over the last few months, helping me increase my disability from 90% to 100% PNT. And I'm sure Rita is going to fill us in on what that means, because when you get that 100% PNT, that is a game changer when you're talking about paychecks and access to base and family insurance and all the stuff that comes along with 100% PNT. We'll get into that. But I was absolutely happy when Rita reached out and said, hey, can we do this again? I said, absolutely. We're going to talk about some more stuff that she's going to be doing, that she's got coming up. And we're going to talk all things veterans. That we'll give you the inside track on what the VSO says to do, how she's going about doing it, and what she's got planned for her future. So with that, we're going to bring on this week's interview of the week.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Rita, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me again. I'm glad we got to connect.
Absolutely. I was happy when you reached out. I'm like, man, this is the first person that says, hey, I want to come back and do this again.
Oh
So
yeah,
must have
we had a
left a
good
good impression on you.
we had a good time, and we had good things we had to get out there. People still don't know that VSOs exist, and I'm like, one day every veteran
Hmm.
will know one way or the other.
Absolutely. And I push that. I know, there's some VSOs that just kind of do it for, it's a job. And there's some VSOs that do it for the veteran. And, when you have like you, it's a passion of yours and I know it. And so there's people like you that are making changes in lives and families at that. So I would say let's recap, but we talked all things VSO last time. But how about you tell us what's been going on, in the VSO world since then?
Oh yeah, we've stayed busier. I've been trying to get as much word as out there as I can. So I've been trying to get on these different podcasts,
Hmm.
um, just explain to people how important we are, what we do. And then once they understand that they're really eligible for things, it kind of changes their tunes, because a lot of times they think that
Hmm.
we are at the VA, we work for the VA. And I'm like, no, our job is to fight and
Yep.
navigate the VA for you. And so, like you
Yep.
were saying, once we get their foot in the door, it's life changing. When they find out that there's
Hmm.
benefits for their kids to go to school, property tax discounts depending on what states
Hmm.
you live on, there's so much out there. And so, just continuing to spread the word about what we do and how important it is. I think the last count that we had was there's about 200 VSOs in North Carolina where I am. And
Hmm.
honestly, we could use so many more. I talked to somebody who came from Florida, and they have about 1,500 VSOs. And I'm like, well, that's the number we
Wow.
need here. Our numbers are pretty comparable. I think Florida has about 1.3 million veterans, and we have right about 900,000. And I'm like, we are not
Yeah.
even close. So we
Yeah.
are trying to work through that. Not that I want it to go political, but I started talking to the political leaders about why we were important, and trying to find funding and trying to find support, because
Hmm.
what I do and what all other VSOs do, it can change everything. I had somebody message me a few weeks ago, and she was like, "You changed everything." She's like, "My parents couldn't even pay their mortgage before, and now they don't have to decide what bills get paid and what don't."
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
huge. Like, just knowing that every
Yeah.
day that they can just pay their bills and buy groceries and they don't have to worry, that's life changing for people. And that's why I
Yeah.
say go see your VSOs. And if you don't get along with the VSO in your county, go find another one. There's plenty out
Yeah.
there. It's,
Absolutely. So I've got a question for you, but you hit some numbers and that just reminded me. I forgot to hit my numbers for the show. And that's the typical 22 veterans commit suicide every day. But with the recent veteran suicide report that came out, down to 17 and a half, which is a start. Still
yeah.
17 and a half too many. But some of the leading causes in that is that transition from military to service. Over 60% of those suicides come from veterans not getting that VA health care. And so that's a big thing. And recently, a couple of days ago, a good friend of mine shared with me the numbers for Texas. Texas ranks number one in the country for the amount of veterans. 1.5 million veterans in the state
Mhm.
of Texas, right? And so if we're looking at that percentage of state population 18 and older, 6%, percentage females 14%, over 65 38%, percentage who served after September 11th 21, 42%. So almost 42% of our veterans in the state of Texas served after 2001. And that's when a lot of that stuff changed. 9/11, GI Bill, all of that changed. Unfortunately, Texas is ranked right at the end, 49th and 50th. 50th for average number of days of bad mental health in the past month, which is pretty sad, right? We all have bad mental health, but being ranked last, understandably, numbers, when you have more numbers than any other state, you've got to be either first or last in something. 49th in having service connected disability rating. So that right there goes to show that most of our veterans in Texas are not seeking those VSOs. They're
Yeah.
not going out there and getting that disability. So, like you said, get your butt out there and find you a VSO or someone to help you get that disability rating. One other number I wanted to point out, and this is actually no surprise whatsoever, 40th for binge drink in veterans. Not surprised at all coming from Texas. But let me ask you this. So when you were talking about a veteran service officer, right? You're employed by the county. People are asking, why is my government, why is my county or my state employing veteran service officers that maybe doesn't help me? They're only helping the veterans. So why should we pay them? So
And
why is it that counties employ veteran service officers?
so back in it was in the 80s. There is a wonderful woman out there. Her name is Ann Knowles, and she basically created VSOs. She is still actively working on claims. When I have a question and I don't understand something, I call her. There is actually a national award, the Ann Knowles Award. If every VSO was like her, we'd be great. Now you do have those VSOs that aren't doing what they're supposed to. And that's when I tell people, call your county manager, let them know they're not answering the phone. They're not doing what they're supposed to, because like every public servant, your county manager deserves to know. If you have somebody in social services or the animal shelter or the sheriff's department, any department that works for you that your tax dollars pay for should be working. So just like any position, you got to go up the chain of command, you got to talk to the right person. But I feel like, in my personal opinion, VSOs are getting, they're different now. It wasn't just a job, or it was just a job for some people, but now you're seeing more and more laws changing where they're trying to say, okay, veterans get preference to do this job, which just makes sense. Veteran spouses doing the job. It's different when it's coming from somebody who's been there, done that.
Right.
And I'm glad that they're doing that, because we are truly seeing a difference in the way claims are being approached. And some of it too is training. I was just on a call the other day talking about, the two sides, right? So the VA was saying, oh, well, the VSOs aren't well trained, but then the VSOs are going, the VA is not well trained. And I'm like, honestly, it's the two of you just don't talk to each other.
That's absolutely it. Yeah.
And one of the things I'm working on, the end of March, I've actually got a leadership summit coming together here in North Carolina, bringing all of our resources, the VA, the VSOs, everybody I can into the room to see what the disconnect is. Because I feel like once we figure out what it is, and I think a big part of it is communication, like we can fix that. There's so many like ins and outs and understanding, and I feel like more and more people genuinely want to help. But this is not a job that if you're looking for a big paycheck, you don't want to be a VSO.
Yeah, anybody that works for the government knows they're not getting paid well.
This is job that you truly want to do because it's important to you. It's a passion for you. Like, to me, I can't imagine doing anything else now that I finally got the dream job, because this is what I went to school for. I studied for. I mean, I used my voc rehab and my GI Bill to get to this point, and I'm glad I did, because this is where I was meant to be.
Yeah. So I don't want to get too deep into the politics, but I do. It is very, relative to what we're talking about. And recently, our legislature for the VFW went and testified before Congress, and one of those congressmen said, and it's not a direct quote, but paraphrasing, that our VSOs are telling our veterans how to lie to get those disability ratings. You're not doing that, right?
No, I don't tell I'm very clear. I tell my veterans, do not lie, because they will find out. But when you go in, you need the biggest thing I have to tell my veterans is to be honest about how bad it is. Because a lot of times my veterans are like, no, I'm fine. And I'm like, dude, you just sat at my desk crying for an hour. You are not fine. And I don't say that to discourage them. I say that because they need to realize, like, they've been trying to keep it together and they're not. Now, one of the parts of our job is to make sure that they understand what they're walking into. Because
Right.
I'll tell my veterans, when you go in, think about how you feel on your worst day, because when you
Yep.
go in on that day, you might feel pretty good. But if
Hmm.
you go and walk up a flight of stairs tomorrow, what kind of shape are you going to be in? So
Right.
I just let them know, like, you need to do the best things for you. And then one thing I
Yep.
tell my veterans every time, they're always like, well, I'm going for a blood pressure exam. And I'm like, you still need to take your medication. I'm like, if you get
Yeah.
aggravated on the drive out there, like, that's outside my power, but like, don't stop your medicine. But
Yeah.
I tell them to bring your medication with you, because one thing veterans don't realize is even
Hmm.
0% gets your foot in the door, and that's all we
Yeah.
need to build from there.
Yeah. So, we talked about the percentages and getting raised up and everything. So let's talk about a little bit um the benefits of finally getting that magic number of 100%. What doors does that open, not just for the veteran, but for the families as well?
Oh yeah, I mean it. The first thing is creating financial stability. Once you're at
Hmm.
100%, like, I don't want to say everybody, but the average person gets to a point where that creates this financial stability they didn't have before.
Hmm.
It also opens up something called Champ VA, so that
Hmm.
their kids, their spouse has access to that.
That's right.
It's a supplemental health care. I never tell
Yep.
veterans, oh, get rid of what you have at work.
Yeah.
Um, like, but
Right.
it's a supplemental health care that helps with, co-pays, deductibles,
Hmm.
those kind of things. And it doesn't cost you anything. So if it doesn't cost you anything, definitely use
Right.
it. It also opens up Chapter 35 for your kids and your spouse. So if they want to go to
Hmm.
school, it will help pay for them to go to school every month. Now, one thing I've
Hmm.
recommended, and I've been very fortunate, thankfully, my veterans and their kids have listened to me when they come in my office, is I always say, you can use this for trade school. Because a lot of people automatically think, oh, I got to go to college. No, you can go to
Yeah.
trade school.
Yep.
Like my smart husband did, because I can tell you, with a master's degree versus his 18 months of trade school, I don't make more money than he does. um, and
Yeah.
thankfully, I
And
didn't.
there's a lot of things in those when it comes to the trade schools and the VOTEC and everything. There's a lot more opportunities are opening up
Oh yeah.
every day on the different kinds of classes. Whether it's, you can do your basic HVAC and welding and stuff like
Mhm.
that, but there's also ones opening up for CDLs for driving trucks, or just so many different things that are opening up that, yeah, veterans aren't aware that it does not have to be that 4-year school program.
Oh yeah. I have a friend that she went and took sewing classes, and now she
Mhm.
works at a bridal store, and she's making like $40 an hour hemming wedding dresses,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I wish I had learned to sew. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and the thing is like, right now in particular, like, my husband is in high demand. He does remodels, like bathrooms, kitchens, puts up
Mhm.
fencing, flooring. We're booked weeks out at a time because nobody works in the trades anymore. And
Right.
we're trying to
Yeah.
hire people, and we can't hire anybody because there's nobody with a trade background.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I will train you. Just you got to be willing to work.
Yeah. That's another problem, is it seems like it's with everything changing these days that people just don't want to do that manual labor type stuff anymore. And unfortunately, we still need that. It's in high
Oh yeah,
demand that we need that stuff, and people aren't doing it because they think, well, I can't afford to do the schooling or the um, whatever it is to get to it. But yeah, absolutely. They need to check in that as well. But also, another thing that the 100% opens up is some veterans, they have to have their spouses or a caretaker take care of them
mhm,
so many times, whether it's drive them to the VA appointments or simple things with getting dressed or whatnot. But that opens them up to that caretaker.
yeah. So
Um,
there's a
so
caregiver program. There's
caregiver.
also aid in
Hmm.
attendance. Um,
Hmm.
but the thing is that while it's available, it's not something you really want. And I explain that to my veterans. Like, caregiver means you're bedbound, you're housebound, you can't go
Hmm.
anywhere. If it was up to me, I'd have my health before I'd have my caregiver.
Mm,
So just
yeah.
kind of know that going into that yes, it is there, but like, there are stipulations behind it. The other thing is depending
Right.
upon where you live, There are property tax discounts. You can get disabled veteran tag for your vehicle. And that was one thing I have so many veterans that are like, oh, I don't need the handicap spot. And I'm like, that's fine. However, get it, because like we went to our local Coliseum to see Jeff Dunham, and they saw my disabled veteran tag and they're like, oh, you're a veteran? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you can park for free. And I was like, we just saved $40 on parking.
Yeah. Yeah, we recently, Valentine's Day, we went to Monster Jam out at AT&T Stadium, and we pulled up in the parking lot, and the guys are looking at the plates, and they're like, oh, we got a spot for you right up here. I parked literally front row, number one spot next to the front door of AT&T Stadium. Couldn't have gotten better. I don't, like, my wife will tell you, I don't use it all the time either. There's some days that I will because, things happen, but some days I'd rather walk, but it does come in handy. Absolutely.
We went on a cruise with Margaritaville, and it was the same thing. Usually they charge for you to park in the parking spot for the week. And they were like, oh, you have a disabled veteran tag. We don't charge for your parking. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, and for me, it's a big saver, especially when my wife was traveling for business. But out at DFW Airport, they don't charge you for parking out there. So I'm in and out of there, and I ain't got to pay a dime. And there's some toll roads here in Texas, and I'm sure other places that you don't have to pay if you have those DV plates. So yeah, it 100% opens up so many avenues. And again, if you're a veteran listening to this, go find the VSO. They will fill you in on that. And y'all do most of the work. Like when I didn't know much about the VSOs until I got in and started meeting one. And she was a disabled veteran herself and president of the local DAV chapter. And basically I signed that medical form, and she's the one that contacted the doctors to get all the paperwork. She's the one that got with the VA to schedule the appointment. She's the one that did everything. And it's, like you said, there's some good VSOs out there that make it so simple for us veterans that we really don't have to do anything other than show up to the appointments.
Yeah. One thing I tell my veterans is if you can, bring me all your medical records from your private care facilities, because if you hand those, that makes it so much easier, because the VA asks for them. There's like a fax glitch or a technology problem.
I know.
That's the extent of what I really ask my veterans to do. Cause I'm like, if you just get me those documents, like I can take care of everything else. And I skim through everything and I make sure that what we're sending up is solid. Cause I don't want to send a claim up that's just mud against the wall, because if it doesn't stick, that doesn't help anybody.
Right. Absolutely. Well, look, great catching up on the VSO stuff. We're going to take a quick break. And then when we get back, we're going to get into this new project that you got coming out. We'll be right back after these messages.
Been home about 6 months now, and I still have my doubts. Well, I'm not sure how I got here or how I'm gonna get out. Well, my mama says I look the same as I did before I left. But if she could see inside of me, it would scare her to death. Well, I can still taste the powder from the barrel of my gun, and I can hear my sergeant screaming, run, soldier, run. And I can feel the backpack on my shoulders, got it weighed a ton. And I see death in every single thought. Well, they taught me how to put that uniform on. I just can't get it off. Last Saturday they honored us in a small parade downtown. And when they shot off those fireworks, I nearly hit the ground. And while they smiled and cheered for us, all I could do was stare. 'Cause part of me is here at home, but part of me's back there. Well, I can still taste the powder from the barrel of my gun, and I can hear soldier, run. And I can feel the backpack on my shoulders, guiding weight a ton. And I see death in every single thought. They taught me how to put that uniform on. I just can't get it on. Yeah, there's no end in sight. 'Cause even though I'm home now, I'm still fighting for my life. Well, I can still taste the powder from the barrel of my gun, and I can hear my sergeant screaming, run, soldier, run. And I can feel the backpack on my shoulders, guiding weight a ton. And I see death in every single thought. Well, they taught me how to put that uniform on. I just can't get it all. Well, the devil's won some battles, and he may win some more, but don't he know the American soldier will always win the war?
All right, welcome back, y'all, to Full Speed Ahead After Battle here on the Military Broadcast Radio. My guest tonight, Rita Honeycutt, VSO out of North Carolina. Got that discussion out of the way, but you've been working on a major project over the last year that I know you're very excited about. And it seems like you're falling into that group of veterans that's becoming an author, I'm sure, because one, you want to document your journey, but two, it's kind of like that healing, right? You put things into words, and it's a healing process for you. And when you see things in words, it just hits different than when it runs through your mind. So, how did you get to be an author? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, so it all started back in 2021. Actually, I had my fourth heart surgery. I'm service connected for a heart condition, and it has been a journey. But after that fourth heart surgery, was laid up in bed for a while, and then from being laid up, I had actually herniated a disc in my back from laying around, and I'm like, they told me to rest, and it didn't do me any good. And it took a while to heal from that surgery. It really kicked my butt that last time. I started gaining weight because I couldn't get up and move or do anything. And it spiraled so quickly. Mentally, I was just so beat up. Physically, I couldn't do anything. I'd gotten to the point where, like, I couldn't even get dressed. I always wore slip-on shoes. It was a rough. And so I finally got in with a doctor, and it's hard because, like, I try not to play that woman card, right? But it was hard because I didn't have a single doctor listen to me when I was like, something's not right. I'm in pain. I have neuropathy in my legs. Like, I felt like that numb tingling constantly, and sat down with a doctor, and he was the first one who didn't go, oh, it's your hormones. He was like, oh, something's wrong. And I'm like, well, yeah. And we went through some stuff, and he said, well, let's try this drug. It's still kind of new and experimental, but it's meant for migraines and seizures. And let's see if it gives you some relief, because I didn't want to be on painkillers. I was doing everything in my power to avoid being on any kind of narcotics or opioids or anything like that. And I was like, dude, if you tell me that I can take a migraine medicine and it will help, then that's what we'll do. And it did. And within 6 weeks, I was up and walking very slowly, but at least walking where it didn't hurt every step of the way. Within 6 months, I was jogging, and last month I completed my first ultra marathon. So within 3 years, going from, took me an hour and a half to do my first 5K to I ran 31 miles all day long. I mean, that's a huge feat. So
It
over
is.
the past year, I took that time. I started writing myself notes about like where I was at with my journey. And one of my friends was like, "You need to write a book." And I'm like, "Well, I already wrote a book." And she's like, "Well, you need to write another one." And so I wrote the book about, my journey and everything I had been through. And it was huge. And we just kept going from there. So
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about what that doctor did for me. And unfortunately, this past year, he passed away. And when I went to publish the book, I dedicated it to him, because if it wasn't for him, I don't know where I would be at now. But this book has been a way for me to connect with people, to let them know they're not alone in this process. Because so many times, we see the tip of the iceberg where, somebody's already lost all the weight and they're feeling good. And you're like, "Oh, you look amazing." And that you don't see the progress through the journey. And I'm like, I'm still progressing every day. Right now I'm in the middle of training for my first triathlon, but my training looks a little different because I'm having to navigate this back injury. I'm having to navigate these hip flexor issues I've been having, still trying to do this all with a pacemaker and being asthmatic. And that was one of the things. It was like, ADA athletes are real.
Right.
But it doesn't always look the same. A lot of times people see an ADA athlete and they're thinking, "Oh, they have no legs, they're in a wheelchair." And I'm like,
Right.
"No, it could be, that they have a back injury and they just use a cane or a walker, or, we talk about the hidden injuries, but we don't really accept the hidden injuries." And so that has been a big part of the book for me, is explaining how important it is to keep going. One of the things I always highlight was, I had been about 6 months into my journey, and I was driving home from work one day and I saw these ladies outside working out. And I said, "Let me just go check out what they're doing." And so I talked to the instructor, and she was like, "Oh, well, your first class is free, come on back on Monday and let have you work out." And I did that. And after my first class, I was like, "Oh," I got there and I was like, "Oh, I'll do great. All these women are older than me." And after my first class, I went outside and I threw up, and I called my husband and said, "Please come get me." And he did. And then he said, "So you're going back on Wednesday?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going back on Wednesday." And I haven't
Yeah.
stopped since then, because it was just
Yeah.
another stepping stone for me. But
Yeah.
it was crucial. And the thing was, is it's so easy to give up, and
Yeah.
one of the things I talk about in my book is, that new year, new me, we go through that process. And then usually about Martin Luther King Day, the first day that the kids have off from school and you can't get to the gym, is the first day that people start falling off the bandwagon. And it's like, just go, even if you go for 15 minutes, go do something, because as long as you're moving, you're doing something. And then understanding that it's not just exercise, it's eating right, it's self-care. There's so many aspects to getting healthy. And when I started writing the book, I originally called it Fat to Fit, my weight loss journey. And I realized it was no longer about weight loss. It was about being healthy. When people look at me, they don't believe how much I weigh. And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but I also lift 260 now." Like,
wow.
So like, they see me and they're like, "Oh, you're 5 foot tall." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but at the same time, I'm doing these things, and I know that, God forbid, my house catches on fire, I can carry my husband outside."
Well, I think that's where a lot of people, maybe not confused, but they picture fitness and health with skinny twigs and people that look like, get blown away in the wind. But it's not always about being skinny. It's about, being healthy. And there's a difference between that, right? And so to me, explain to me or the people listening, what is the difference to you between being skinny and being healthy?
Well, so for me, I at first I want it to be skinny, right? Because I thought that's what I need it to be. And then I realized that no, like, I really want it to look like I could kick somebody's ass. But when I started going and doing these different things, the first thing that kind of got me into gear was I signed up for my first 5K and I
Hmm.
walked it. I got it done in an hour, and you get that finisher's medal and you're like, man, I did it. And then I just started signing up for the next thing after the next thing. And for me, it became, I was completing these things. I wasn't worried about
Right.
competing. I was worried about completing. And those are two
There
very
you
different
go.
things. And
Yep.
every time it was like this emotional boost that I needed to continue my
Hmm.
journey. And I'm not saying it's okay to like sit around and eat a bag of chips. I am saying that after you run 31 miles, don't feel bad about eating that pizza. But it's about finding balance and understanding, and then what feels good to you. I had to really like navigate the scale. That was very hard for me
Hmm.
because I'm like, why won't it go down? And then
Right.
my pants started to not fit in a good way. And so I
Hmm.
kept the pants that I started with. I still have them because I'm like, I want to get one more size down. Um,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna take the picture, the one that you see on like Weight Watchers and stuff.
Right.
um, but it was so important to me. How did my clothes fit? How did I feel?
Hmm.
Just getting those first few pounds off was huge. But then it was also building that muscle. And once I started building
Yeah.
muscle and feeling good, and I woke up in the morning feeling refreshed, that was a big part of the journey.
Right. Yeah. So, you mentioned it, it, everybody wants to start out, but, after a few weeks, you get tired or worn out or life gets in the way. Right. And you're just like, well, maybe next year I'll quit. But I think what we got to remember is, we all felt that way going through boot camp, right? Whether
Mm-hmm.
it's the first day, the first week, the first month, it's like, I can't do this anymore. Right. But then you're making friends, the people, that you're serving with, that you're fighting left and right with, and you realize it's not just you in the battle, it's your teammates, it's your people you're working with, and like you've got your husband there, and it's all about that network. So you've got to surround yourself with the people that are trying to achieve the same goals that you are. So you don't have to go on that weight loss journey yourself or whatever journey it is that you're looking for. You just got to surround yourself with people that are on that same path. And
Oh yeah.
and just like we always say, you don't have to do this alone, right? You're not in this by yourself. But I got your book up here, Fat to Fit.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can find it on Amazon. I put the link in the comments as well, so be sure to check that out. But you also you're traveling around and doing book signings and autographs
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, and so you know, uh, fluff to tough.com for those tuning in. Put that up there, so go check that out. Where was it? There we go. Your upcoming dates. There's February. There's March. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Asheboro, Archdale, North Carolina. So you're getting pretty good following with this book so far. Is that right?
Yeah. So far, I think that when people realize they're not alone, and like you just
Mm-hmm.
said, it kind of, you equate it back to your days in the military. I started surrounding myself with the people I want it to be like. Who did I want to grow with? And the thing is too is even like we do a mud run. This will be our third year doing it. And each year, we have more and more people sign up to go with us because they're like, it looks like you had so much fun. And the first time we did it, Lord, we started probably the way we should have looked when we were done. One of the girls went with us, had just broken her foot. Another one was in a cast where she had a broken arm. We looked rough. um, and we finished, and it was crazy because one of the girls was like, I cannot do this. And I looked at her and I said, I promise you, no matter what, you will get through every single obstacle. And we
Yeah.
got her through, and she was like, this is great. And then the following year, we had a different group of people, and we had the same thing that the one girl was like, I can't do this. And I was like, I will leave no man or woman behind. We are getting over everything. And it worked out great because I had a friend with me, Abby, and she's Army. And she got to the top of the obstacle, and she's like me. She works out in heavy lifts. And I was like, all right, I need you at the top, and I'm going to throw these girls at you. And so we made sure everybody got over everything safely. And that was the big thing, is once they got that done, so many people were like, I need to work out more with you. And I'm like, come on, let's go to the gym.
Yeah, and once you start doing those types of events with each other and with friends and stuff, it makes it more enjoyable, and it turns more into team building and camaraderie than, oh, I've got to get through this on my own. This is so boring. Yeah, so yeah, it's always fun when you get to do it with a group of people and build that teamwork and everything else. So I'm glad that you found that journey for you and that it's working out for you. And so not only did you write a book about it, but you're also helping people change the way they eat with your other book that you're working on.
So I've got a cookbook coming out in a couple weeks. It'll be out March 15th. It's called Eating Your Fluff into Tough. And it's all of the recipes that either my daughter and I have tailored to our needs, because I've got a picky teenager in the house. Some of them are grandma's recipes, all different things that we've come along our path and we found. A lot of peanut butter recipes in there, because everybody was like, oh, I'm not a big chicken person. I'm like, well, if you like peanut butter, I got you.
I know my wife makes some peanut butter protein cookies that I swear are amazing, and I would rather eat those than some of the regular peanut butter cookies. So they're good. They're good.
That's and it's just reframing how you think about food, because at first, when I first started this, I'm like, oh, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. Well, depriving myself was making it worse, because then I was on this yo-yo diet of like, oh, now I want it, and that's all I wanted to eat. And so it was like, I can have a piece of chocolate, but it needs to be a piece of chocolate, not 6 Hershey bars. And in the cookbook too, I give some pointers of the things that I learned along the way, of like subbing in honey for sugar. Like, first of all, it tastes so much better to me. And then understanding nutrition labels, I touch base on that, because sometimes you look at the label and it's kind of intimidating.
It is.
So we touch on all of those things in the cookbook, because I wanted people to be aware.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, eating healthy is no longer, bland oatmeal and all that stuff. There's actually some amazing recipes out there. So definitely let me know when that cookbook comes out, and I'll get it for the wife so she can make it all. But she's the healthy cook. I'm the barbecue and all that kind of not good stuff cook. But yeah,
well, there's a recipe in there for pulled pork barbecue. Using barbecue sauce without a lot of sugar in it.
Well, now we're going to get into the conversation of barbecue in North Carolina versus barbecue in Texas, and that never ends well.
To me, after being in Texas and being here, like, they're both good. They just both bring something they bring something very different to the table.
They do. It just, that's always a heated debate, barbecue in the different regions. But no, that's amazing that, such a different story than the last time you were on. Last time it was all about VSO, which is great because we're here to help the veterans, but also, sharing your story of adversity and overcoming the health issues that you had to achieve the goals and feel better and be better. And now you're helping people. And I think that's what a lot of veterans end up doing. Once they make themselves better, they turn around and try and help others, because that's what we do as veterans, right? We take care of each other and promote each other. And so it's great that you're out there doing that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited, and it's not stopping there. I've been trying to find different ways to like get this positive information out there. So the cookbook comes out, like I said, in a couple of weeks, and then my next book comes out in April, and it's called "The Struggles Are Real, Real Fun," and it is a little bit different than I think people are anticipating it's going to be, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's going to be these different stories," and I'm like, "It is." But it's going to be in verse, and it's going to be different from what you're used to seeing from me. So I'm very excited about that one too. So now I've got this forward momentum, and I'm like, let's keep getting this out there, getting the positive word out there, because we see all this negativity in the world, and I'm like, if I could just put a little light back into it, that
I
makes
know.
all the difference.
I know. There's so many negative things going on in the world today, and it's not like it used to be. And I know everybody says that, and now I understand what my parents were talking about back in the day. But yeah, we all need to do better at helping each other, and that's in the veteran community, we've always been good at that. But we also need to remember that you still got to take time for yourself, because you got to make yourself better, make yourself happy. And if you can't do that, then you're not going to be able to help anybody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
and that's why I keep promoting the self-care. Like for me, my gym
Mhm.
time is my self-care. And it's funny because
right.
one of my friends was like, between, your full-time job, and I'm active in my American Legion, and I'm active with the Thrive community here in North Carolina, like all these different things. They're like, when did you have time to write a book? And I'm like, on the treadmill. And they're like, how? And I'm like, I just took my phone and started writing my notes. And then when I had time, I sit down and put it on my computer. But when
Yeah.
you want something, you will find a way to
Mhm.
make it happen. And the thing is
Absolutely.
like, we were taught time management in the military. So when I meet a
Mhm.
veteran that's always late, I'm like, are you sure you served?
Are you sure you're a veteran? Because veterans are not late to anything.
Oh Lord. It still gives me anxiety after
Yeah.
15 years. I'm like, we cannot be late.
Yep. I know. Same way. Yeah, I can't do that either. So, but yeah, doing great things. So, what else? Anything else going on since the last time you were here? I mean, other
Yeah,
than helping veterans and books, and
the
you're staying
big thing.
busy.
Yeah, the big thing we've got coming up is my friend that made me throw up the first time I worked out with her. Her grand opening for her new gym is in a couple of weeks, and that's on my
Okay.
website. It is
Wow.
an ADA accessible gym, because that was something that we wanted
Mm,
everybody to be able to feel comfortable, because I feel like sometimes there's a gap. You go
yeah.
to physical therapy, and like you have that environment, and then you move over to trying to work out at like places like Planet Fitness and Golds and all these
Right.
other places, but
Yeah.
they're not really equipped for people that might have some accessibility issues. So I love that this gym is open to everybody. She just
Good.
had her first amputee patient start on with the gym, and she's been loving it already, because for her, she's like, this is the first place I've been able to work out, and like I can work out in a group environment, and like
Mhm.
I don't have to feel like everybody's waiting on me. Like we're all doing the version of what we can do. So I love that it's a
Right.
different style, and it's great because it'll only be the second one in North Carolina. We have one in
Okay.
Charlotte, and this will be the second one here in the Piedmont, and that's just huge. And I think the more and more that people understand,
Yeah.
the more it will grow, because
Yeah.
you, like I said, you see and you think, okay, well, they have like the Paralympics, and it's like it's not the same.
Mhm.
This is open for everybody, and that has been huge. The other nice thing
Yeah.
is we try and do a lot of like peer support stuff. I know you had Maddie on
Okay.
back at the beginning when you
Mhm.
started the show.
Yep.
Working with Maddie to do peer support stuff. Like I
Yeah.
love her recreational therapy. And I'm hoping now that my schedule is changing a little bit, I'm going to start doing classes with her, because I
Okay.
have no problem sitting there. If you tell me I can paint this pretty picture and I can have an hour off, like I'm good. But all of those things have been crucial parts of my physical journey, of taking the time to
Right.
like sit and do something I enjoy, has been just as important as the running, and all of it
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
You got to take time for yourself and find the things that you enjoy, and take that time for you. So it's definitely,
and
you got to refill your own cup.
yeah, I know sometimes it's hard, like when people are like,
Mhm.
you're a mom and you homeschool your daughter and you're doing your husband's bookwork for his business,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yes, but every night I sit there and I watch Josh Gates on Expedition Unknown, so that's my me time.
There you
I
go.
mean, even if it's 15 minutes, that's all it takes
Yeah.
sometimes to just recenter the body. And those are things too
Yep.
I actually talked about in the cookbook, is that it was like, take the time to just recenter
Mhm.
yourself before bed. Take a shower. It doesn't matter if
Yeah.
it's a 5-minute shower or a 20-minute shower. Take a shower and get your head back in the game,
Yep.
so you're ready to conquer the next day.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be some extravagant 30-minute yoga workout or anything like that. It's have a cup of tea or sit on the front porch with your dog or something. Just
Hmm.
relax, come back together, decompress for a few minutes, and then move on. If you're
Yep.
in the office and you're working in the office, get up and take a walk around the office building for a minute.
Oh
It,
yeah.
it doesn't have to be elaborate. Just something simple. But look, we're coming up on the end of the hour, the second hour for you. And I don't know if we did this last time, but I'm going to run you through the 2-minute drill that I do with all my guests these days. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes to open up and speak into the world what you wish to share or put out or feel to everybody that's out there listening. So the floor is yours.
Oh Lord, there's so many feelings right now. I I try and like just keep preaching the message of hope. Like that has been such a crucial part of what I've been doing is like it's so easy to lose hope, when you lose a job or you lose a relationship or you're not in great shape or you're not ready for that beach body for the summer. Like it is
Mhm.
okay and it's going to get better. And I'm seeing it more and more. I think this was the first year that I had read the statistics where Americans level of obesity was coming down. And I'm like, it's because
Mm.
people are getting out there and
Yep.
food choices are getting easier. Like all these different things are getting easier. And to my veterans in particular, like I understand I to a point, I can't understand you individually, but I understand the scenario where it's like I'm not in the military. What am I supposed to do with myself? My body is not the same that it used to be. My service time was cut very short and it broke my heart. And this was my being a VSO has been my new way to serve. Because
Mhm.
then I can support all of my veterans and just keep on moving. I know that there are those days like today. I got done with the stuff I had to do, and I sent my husband a message and I said, I'm going to take a nap. And I'm going to retry in an hour. And, some days that's what I need to do to recenter myself.
Mhm.
And right now, like, training for this triathlon has been more challenging than training for that ultra because there's a reason I didn't join the Navy and it's because I can't swim. Um, and so now at almost 40, like I'm like, I gotta figure out how to swim. And I say that like I can swim to survive, but I can't swim well. Um,
Mhm.
but challenging yourself to do new things is also like huge because you're like, I never thought I could do this. And then when you do it, it's the best feeling in the world. And so just keep on moving and keep on doing whatever you can. And it doesn't have to look glorious as long as you're trying to just better yourself every day. You'll start to notice too the company you keep is crucial. I
Mhm.
started cutting the toxic people out of my life and started putting these healthy people in my life, and it has been life changing. There have been people when I don't show up to the gym, I get text messages and I'm like, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. But it's nice to know that those people are rooting for me to continue to be healthy. So I know
Yeah.
sometimes it's easier said than done, but cut out them toxic people, friends or family,
Yeah.
though they may be. If they're toxic, they're toxic. So, and if you can
Yeah.
get a dog, it'll make you feel better.
I agree with you on that last one. Dogs always make everything better.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Rita, I appreciate you coming on the show again. You're more than welcome here anytime. You're doing amazing work. And thank you so much. Not what you're just doing for yourself to take care of yourself, but for all of our veterans out there, being a VSO and everything. So good luck with all that. And you are welcome back anytime.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a great night.
Thank you too.
All right. Well, y'all, that wraps up another episode of Full Speed Ahead After Battle. That was Rita Honeycutt, VSO Veteran Service Officer in North Carolina, sharing her information on, disability ratings, what all comes along with that, how to reach out, how more veterans need to reach out. And if you didn't hear those numbers, 600 or a lot, right? Six 600,000, somewhere around that. Veterans committing suicide, many of them 60% of those veteran suicides, 6,400, thank you. 60% of that 6,400 veteran suicide is because the veterans not reaching out for that VA help. That's what those VSOs are paid to do, is to help you out. And not only that, many of them, like Rita, are veterans themselves, and they want to help you out. That's what they take those jobs for. So, like she also says, you've got to get out there and find your journey, find your path, whether it's exercise or finding a new hobby. Sometimes getting started is the hardest thing, but remember, just like in boot camp, and like I say every week, you're not in it alone. Find other people in with the same interests as you and work together towards your goal. You don't have to do it alone. There's people out there that have already done it before. You just got to reach out there and ask them. Then go find her book on Amazon, Fat to Fit, My Health Journey by Rita Honeycutt. She talks about her journey and her past. She's got other books coming out. If you need a good cookbook that's healthy with some great recipes, as well as some other healthy information in there, you can find that book coming out. But again, go find your VSO. Go find somebody to help you get those veteran benefits through the VA. All right. Other upcoming events, I know I'm putting it out every week, but it's getting closer and closer because here we are in March. So it's coming up next month. Battle Buddy Throwdown Cornhole Tournament, sponsored by the VFW District 21. That's going to be on April 18th. We've got some big stuff coming in. Dr. Odom of North Texas Wellness and Injury and Wellness. He's going to come out there with his staff. He's going to be talking about orthopedics and chiropractic. That's it. That word. And he's going to be giving free trigger point massages to everybody that's out there, as long as you get there and sign up early. So come out there, join us for a good cause. All the money is going to go towards the Irreverent Warriors DFW chapter, who work solely on raising awareness around veteran suicide and mental health. So come join us for that. Not only at that event, but Military Broadcast Radio. That's right. This group that I'm here with and others, they'll be out there at that event selling Die Tired merchandise or T-shirts. That's the band that we are collaborating with for a new T-shirt, MBR Die Tired T-shirt, where profits are going to help veterans as well. Tracer from Tracer Rounds will be out there helping you with those shirts and talking to you veterans about how to get into podcasting or video or any of that online stuff that we do, which are so many more options. What else? Previous guest Rex Enriquez of Mission Focus Coaching. I've been working with him, and we got him set up at a equine therapy center here in Fort Worth. It's an equine therapy center that helps veterans with their physical therapy, with their PTSD and any of that. He's going to be bringing his Mustang mission for warriors out there, and he's going to be doing that May 16th, sorry, that Saturday here in Hazlet, Texas, just outside of Fort Worth. Make sure you go check out his website, Mission Focus Coaching. Rex Enriquez, he'll be out there. And for that, we got our next guest coming up next week. We're rolling through March. Big things are happening, so stay tuned. If you're just now tuning in, I am your veteran mental health coach here on Full Speed Ahead After Battle, where we help our veterans with their transition from service to civilian, along with how to help with veteran suicide, the intervention, prevention, postvention, all the ventions around it, helping the families as well, mental health. And as I tell you every week, don't forget, no matter what you're going through, things will get better. And you're not in this alone. So just like we said in boot camp and on the ship and in battle, you're not fighting this battle alone. There are those out there, whether it's Rita, whether it's myself, whether it's anybody else. As long as you're asking for help, that's all you got to do. So if you need help, reach out. If not, reach out to those that you think they're doing. It's not always the sad ones. Reach out to the happy ones too. Sometimes they're the ones that are wearing that mask and hiding it the most. So be sure to tune in next week reach out if you need help. We're all here for you. You're not in this battle alone. Dismissed.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness, one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm, and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25, and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.